Mike.
Hey, Clark.
Hey. Hey, Mike, how are you? Okay, we're ready. There you go. Welcome to the March 21st, 2025 Westtown East Goshen Police Commission meeting. My name is Dick Pomerantz. I'm the chair, and we'll go around the room very quickly.
Tony Brett, Vice Chair, East Goshen.
Commissioner at Large, Tom Stone. Dave?
Dave Molnar, East Goshen resident.
Mila Carter, Westtown Township.
Mike, you'd introduce yourself.
Mike Brackney, Westtown East Goshen Police. Russ Wheeler, Westtown East Goshen Police.
Ted Lewis, Westtown East Goshen Police.
Dave Leahy, Interim Chief of Police.
Kathy Burrow, Business Manager.
Jason Large from the police department. Before we begin, I'm just going to say I'm happy to be back, and I think we're going to start with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. And before we sit down, just we always do a moment of silence for all first responders. Thank you. We have a lot to get through, and we've got to do it because each of us here on the police commission have pretty hard stops. And executive sessions were held today discussing personnel issues. We also had executive sessions on a Tuesday evening, make you aware of. And again, it was dealing with personnel. With that, I'm going to ask for on the minutes of February 21st. I'll have to abstain. And before I do that, I just want to say I want to thank Cody for taking over for me in my absence in this position, and want to thank Ed Yost for sitting in on behalf of Westtown Township as an interim police commissioner. On approval of minutes, do I hear a motion?
So
Second. Any comments about them? All abstain, all in favor?
Aye.
Chairman's report, a couple things. I mentioned that the joint board meeting of the board of supervisors on March the 18th, and the discussion was about the consultant's report. The consultant's report arrived. Interim police chief received a copy of it on last Friday. The two boards received a copy of it around the same time. We had a joint board discussion of it on Tuesday. And before you guys even ask the question, you're going to be getting a copy of it. Okay.
Thank you.
I've already thanked Ed Yost for sitting in as an interim. I do have one other comment, and I think it's something I'd really like to put on an agenda for a future meeting. And I've actually discussed it, sent it to you, Dave. Without getting into the details, but now, because I don't want to waste the time or spend the time doing it, I don't think it's a waste. Mila and I can tell you point blank that there is an increased intensity of, I'm not sure what you call it, commentary of certain resident. And just out of curiosity, at some point, could we have a real discussion about when does freedom of speech overstep and then becomes harassment or perceived harassment? And at that point, were you concerned about when is a threat a threat? So at some point, I'd really like to have a discussion from a police point of view.
Understood. Yep.
Okay.
Set that up.
Do you want it on the agenda for a meeting, or do you want to do a private meeting?
No, I actually think it would be great to have it as a public meeting,
Okay.
just to have a discussion about it. I mean, I think with what we're seeing happening in the country, where people's tempers are pretty frayed, it's a question that I'm being asked by even my members of my board,
Mhm.
you know, and it's a fair question. So it's like, I know what the previous police chief believed. I understand that philosophically. To some extent, I can appreciate that point of view. But it is a fair question.
Yeah, it's a question that we've addressed outside of this agency, with the district attorney's office.
Yeah.
But I'd be happy to
That'd be great.
bring back up to them again. But like I told you, it's what their opinion was a couple of years
I
ago.
understand, yeah. That's the chairman's report, Vice Chair.
No report from me.
Tom?
No report.
Dave, as the interim chief, your report, concerns?
So just to remind everybody, the entire police commission packet for this meeting is on our Crime Watch page. As far as compliments go, I'll provide them next month as I let them build up a little bit. As far as one, I would like to commend and a compliment to all the officers who responded to the dump truck accident on Westchester Pike. Incredibly, nobody was injured there, and it's unbelievable that nobody was injured or killed, or numerous people were injured or killed. But with that being said, the scene was extremely chaotic, with 3 properties being damaged, utility poles. So I don't want to get into, I know Sergeant Lewis is here. His unit is working diligently to look into it further. I'm not sure if you would like to hear anything from Sergeant Lewis as far as that goes, but I appreciate the work they did on that. It was a chaotic scene, so.
It's up to these guys. Ted, I actually drove by it as it was just the second before it happened, or after it happened. So I see the truck is in there. All these people come rushing out. You know what? Everybody wanted to take a picture of the utility pole.
I didn't want a picture of the truck. Just for the brief 30-second update, we've been investigating this. We did a post-crash inspection on the truck today, which gives us, I believe, all the information that we need to conclude our investigation. It appears as if this incident was sparked by a medical event with the driver. We are actively pursuing that, and we'll be taking steps to make sure that driver is properly evaluated before he's going to be able to operate a commercial vehicle again. I believe the damages are going to be in the range of about $500,000 from this collision, and we'll make sure that all the involved property owners have all the information at their disposal to be able to hopefully get themselves fixed up and back into business as soon as possible.
If you can't answer this question, understand. By medical event, is that a medical event that give you an extreme caused by illicit drugs versus?
No, we have no suspicion of impairment of the driver whatsoever. It's our understanding that he may have tried to address what he perceived to be a medical issue just a few days before this. It's our conclusion is likely going to be that he became unconscious, and that's what caused him to leave the roadway. And he did not. We don't believe that he regained consciousness until after he was fully into the Firestone building. So,
Amazing.
and not as a result of any level of impairment whatsoever.
Got it. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other?
Yes, so just one concern I just want to, discuss, and obviously as everybody's aware here, of the protests that have been occurring at the Tesla, dealership out front of that for the past month. They're starting to get a little bit more active at those protests. I worked it last week. Property owners are taking their rights to address parking on their private property. So we managed to mediate some of the situations there. Additionally, there was an incident it's been well documented and it's in social media about a truck driving past the protesters and blowing smoke. We're investigating that incident. For Saturday, we're going to have additional staffing on for tomorrow's protest. They are planning another one tomorrow. But our main goal, obviously, as a police department, is to protect the protesters, protect all citizens' rights, make sure everybody's safe and secure, while at the same time allowing people to express their First Amendment rights safely. So anything comes up from that further, I'll.
There's an extended piece in today's reporting, and actually maybe a London UK media report, that there's a greater frequency of against Tesla involving Molotov cocktails and the like. Are we getting any sense of any kind of threats like that?
We have not received any information as far as any threats towards our Tesla dealership. I have directed as even as earlier as today, to increase patrols, especially during evening hours and on, hours that the business is closed. But specifically, we have not received any threats towards our Tesla, but it is true throughout the nation, as we've seen on the news.
Not that I have any intention of joining, but what is the time frame normally that they do these protests?
So there's one group that's not affiliated with the second group, but it's the first group that got there last week around 11. Small group, 15 people or so. But the main group that comes, they get there at 1. They're there till about 4.
Are they locals?
No, they're from all over.
All over?
Where do they park? At the
So-
ticket center?
So that's an issue that I discussed actually with the organizer last week. I was able to speak with him, and he's very receptive to my suggestions or the business owner's concerns about private property. He actually called me yesterday and said, I get it. But what we would want to do is I would like to, and we're going to address this tomorrow. But they believe that they're going to have people that are coming park on public roads and walk over. So one of the roads they've mentioned is Wickerton. So this is,
Might be.
it is a roadway that can be parked on as long as we're not blocking both sides where emergency vehicle access, ambulances, fire trucks can't get through. So it's something that we're going to be monitoring as well. So
So not in West Goshen.
not in West Coast, no.
Anything else?
As far as concerns, no.
Stats reports?
Yes. So for February, I think the department handled 2,144 total incidents. Westtown, 940, East Goshen, 1,195. Again, the breakdown of all the calls can be seen on our crime watch page on the PC packet. Just briefly, a couple of trends. I know we're short on time here. Just want to remind people that going into the spring here, our parks are going to be more active. Oakhorn Park, obviously East Goshen Park. So with increased people attending sporting events and just enjoying our parks, the chances of vehicle break-ins are going to increase. So we want to remind everybody to make sure you don't leave valuables inside your car that can be seen, secure them, lock your doors. I just want to commend our officers, at least in my 26 years here, I've never seen police work in a short amount of time that's gotten 3 illegal weapons or guns off the road. Since the beginning of the year, our officers, our patrol officers have gotten 3 illegal guns. I don't want to get into the details of those investigations, but great police work that just does show the inherent danger that our officers face every day out on the roads. So great job to them.
We constantly say the great job that all the officers do in maintaining the quality of life in East Goshen and West Town. There's never been a doubt about that.
And that's it for statistics.
Great. Township roundtable? No?
Sure, just a couple of things, the subdivision for 1001 South Walnut Street, so it went through the planning commission and the planning commission recommended approval. So it's just a small 2-lot subdivision on the corner of South Walnut and Oakland Road. The planning commission also recommended approval for the 2-acre lot subdivision of Crabelly Preserve. So Darlington Inn on the corner of 202 and 926 would be a part of that 2-acre subdivision if the board decides to approve it moving forward. PennDOT, as you can see, has been storing some equipment and materials off Old Wilmington Pike. We are still working with PICO, trying to take that tree off Old Wilmington Pike to get an access. So PennDOT plans to start that construction work for realignment and right turn lane on that corner sometime in May and works throughout the summer. For Oakland Park, you've seen that we've had our fence, the wind bent the fence, bended actually the metal of the fence at tennis courts. So we are working with the contractor for different options on how to prevent that from happening. So right now tennis courts are closed, but the rest of Oakland Park is open. On Oakland Park, the Board of Supervisors has signed 2 agreements, one with East Side Little League for a year and the other one with the Westchester United Soccer Club. With Westchester United Soccer Club, temporary, the Board of Supervisors allows them to use soccer field to do 2 games at the same time. Last year, there were some issues on the parking lot between the parents, between baseball and soccer, because there was no enough place to park. So we'll see how it would go, but we just want to make sure that everybody has access to use the facilities, the basketball, pickleball, and other facilities while there are games, baseball games and soccer games.
We have parking under construction as well, so that's part of the issue.
Yeah, so we are gonna have, the bids were just awarded to Land Tech for construction of Oakland Mansion parking lot. So that's right next by the mansion where the playground is, and a garden. So the construction will probably start in the next month or so. So there would be some activity. I hope it will be done much faster, but we'll see. Keep getting complaints about the ice rink. A couple of videos showing people exercising, playing loud music, using foul language. The videos that I received, it's very difficult to gauge whether the music is loud or not. I can just hear traffic on Route 3 as opposed to the music. So that's something that we continue to be dealing with our solicitor. Shopping center next to Tesla is going to start construction for Chase Bank. So that's kind of part of an issue. We talked to them about the fact that they have to bring a security and a tow truck company because they need to secure the site for construction. So it's that portion of a parking lot along Westchester Pike. And I think that's it.
Does Derek have?
2 brief things. Yes. First off, I know in the past, WeGo's helped us. We installed cameras at East Goshen Park, I believe, some of the entry and exit ways on the side. I think there may be a desire to increase cameras at the park.
Okay.
I don't know what the legality and all that stuff happens regarding people don't want to be filmed, so might reach out to that. And second of all, Sergeant Lewis, we're adding a temporary speed bump on Waterford.
I was aware.
Okay, as long as I figured that you were aware, I just want to make sure. So that's all I have.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Before we move on, Dave, I want to thank you and the department for following through when I asked about sending some kind of notice to the public regarding coyotes.
Oh, yes.
Okay, you sent it out, and believe it or not, I got a phone call from a resident the next day saying, did you know that there are coyotes around? So, and that's happening, that's now happened in 4 states, started in 2, where the coyotes, for whatever reason, and one of them's in Florida, one was in the state of Washington, where the coyotes were attacking the public. And the police departments there are basically doing the same kind of warning and saying, if you got a child that's like 3 or 4 years old, don't have a kid out alone after dusk and things like that. So.
All right, real quick. Yeah. Speaking of, I know it's Devon's, Officer Hyman.
Hyman, yes.
Hyman, sorry. I can't remember which commissioner asked about increasing notice on social media about road closures, and I've noticed that every single time a road's been closed since then, you guys have posted that, so please pass along or thank you for that.
He's done a great job, as we say each month.
I remember that specific request to road closure, so thank you.
Let's move on to approved bills for February 5th and February 20th.
Make the motion to approve the bills.
Second.
I have no questions. I can't, I have to,
You already voted, you already approved these. Oh, actually, you weren't, you were gone still. Never mind.
next,
Aye.
good, thank you, guys. Commercial vehicle scales, rental paid.
Just an FYI that we're paid up until the end of March 31st. And if you would like us to continue, we will. Otherwise,
Make a motion, we remove it from the agenda till further notice.
so therefore we should be
Continue
paying
to
it
pay.
rent. Okay.
Also, I can make a second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Kathy, let's deal with the commission meetings, the dates of them, et cetera.
Right, so after a few emails, maybe more than a few and texts, we were thinking for April through December that it would be Thursday, April 24th at 9 a.m.
That'd be for the public session.
Public session, correct. And then every month after would be the third Friday, so that would be May 16th at 9, June 20th at 9, July 18th, August 15th, September 19th, October 17th, November 21st, and December 19th. None of them interfere with a holiday, which is the reason we're having the April meeting on Thursday, because that would have been interfered with a
Good Friday.
Good Friday, correct. So all the meetings following this one will be 9 a.m. for public session, 8 a.m. for executive session. As provided, this is a good list for everyone. I will advertise this afternoon and also place the information on Crime Watch.
Do you need a motion for that?
I don't think we need a motion now.
Okay,
Just a,
thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Let's move on to LEAS, the discussion.
Yes, so again, I didn't bring it up earlier, I would save it for here, but as of February 28th, we were reassessed and we successfully were reaccredited for which is now the fourth time. So we will accept our official certificate going forward in April for reaccreditation. It was truly a team effort. I can honestly say I don't believe we would have been able to accomplish that without the assistance of LEAS or the law enforcement accreditation services. They helped us through. We really were under the gun, and without their services, I truly don't believe we would have able to get it done. With that being said, I spoke with LEAS earlier this week. Just this morning, they provided me 2 quotes for continuing them. I know at the debrief of the accreditation, and Tom, you were there, the accreditation assessors highly suggest working with an accreditation consultant. I think that's a result of our reaccreditation is very successful. So my suggestion is to keep with LEAS. I have 2 quotes. They can do it one of 2 ways. They can give us a service where they pay on an hourly, we pay on an hourly rate of $125 an hour. That's as needed. Currently, we don't have an accreditation manager. Corporal Large will be attending accreditation manager school beginning in April. So he will go ahead with our accreditation process. My suggestion would be the second option, which would be a flat fee annual fee, where Corporal Large would provide them with proofs of compliance. They would do all of the administrative side, just as they did with us in the last 3 months, 4 months of the year. So I know probably you'll want to look this over before we make a decision, but I'll.
Is there an issue if we just wait for the next meeting at AFO?
Could you look, because they have a deadline for this agreement, as far as. As like April 14th. This is the hourly rate I'm gonna give you here.
Do you remember what we paid for the last time?
right, 12,000.
$12,000.
Yeah, so
For 40 a year?
No.
that's 10 a year.
Yeah.
How much?
Let me.
10.
That's 40.
Let's
So
go for
go
that 3
to-
years.
If you go to page 3 at the very top.
Got it.
So it would be $2,500 paid in the first 60 days of the agreement, $10,000 on October 31st, 2025, $10,000 on October 31st, 2026, $10,000 on October 31st, 2027. Then an additional $7,500 that would include, or that would be at the end of the successful accreditation period. So this service actually gives us more. They come in, they assist us with on-site assessments. They're pretty much more hands-on than the other one. As needed, $125 an hour. I don't believe we should do at this point because we don't have an established accreditation manager.
What is the downside to waiting? I mean, we just got this paperwork.
Well, I mean, we could readdress it with them. They just have a deadline as far as this contract is April 14th. And we could wait until
The next
the
meeting.
next meeting.
I think I'd do that.
I'm moving, we wait till the next meeting.
Mhm.
I'm sure they'll extend it to
Yeah.
April 20th.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure they will too. You need a second for that? Okay.
Authors' comments?
Thank you.
I'll try to be brief because I know that you have timelines. First of all, it's nice to have you back, Rance.
Thank you.
I'm glad that things are at least moving in the direction it should be. I appreciate that. I also appreciate you telling us right off the bat that we're going to receive a copy of the report. I think it's important for this board to understand the amount of stress that members of this department have been going through leading up until this point. And I wanted to make some particular comments about my unit. And hopefully it will help you to guide your decisions in terms of timeliness. We have known since the loss of patrol coverage for Thornbury that there were going to be changes here in the police department. They need to happen. Everybody's aware of that. And I think across the board, officers have expressed a strong desire to do whatever it takes to make sure that that this department is able to continue to move forward, provide the services to the residents, and to make this the best organization that there is. And I certainly know that the people in my unit are committed to that and have been committed to that. It was once we became finally aware of the RFP and what it contained, it was immediately obvious to the people in my department, in my unit, that there was active discussion about shutting down our services. The two people who work for me have been in my unit for 20 and 23 years respectively. Everything they've done throughout their full-time career here in their department has been directly related to providing traffic safety. Their training and also foregoing things like taking promotional exams or trying to move in a different track because they've been committed to doing what it is that we do. It's what they've dedicated their lives to. So obviously, if there is going to be a fundamental change in what they do in the final years of their career, that's a stressful thing for them to have to deal with. These changes have been in limbo for a long time. We've known since, I guess, June of last year about the contents of the RFP, and it's now March, and my guys still don't know what's going to happen. If there's going to be changes in assignment, it is what it is. As a supervisor of the unit, I would appreciate the courtesy and respect to be able to have some lead time to tell them what's going to happen and to prepare them for it. Prepare them for it mentally, prepare them for it in training, and get them ready to go so that they can go out and do the best job possible. It's hard to stand and wait. Any given day that we come into work, we don't know whether we're going to be working in the place that we're working. As a supervisor, that creates a very difficult set of circumstances to be able to continue to try to energize and motivate the people who work for me. And to their credit, they're still going out there every day and doing the job and doing a heck of a good job. So I appreciate them for that. But the more time goes on, the more and more challenging that becomes for me as a sergeant of that unit. We have made adjustments to the chief in terms of our scheduling and being able to backfill and things of that nature. And to be honest, it probably should have been done a long, long time ago. We've always volunteered to step up and do these things, and we have some other proposals that we've made that we think would make things even better. I would strongly encourage, no matter what decisions it is that you make them swiftly. Let us know. This has been the most difficult year since the townships voted to shut us down. It's been that level of stress. And for people to have put in an entire career worth of work, the perception is one of disrespect about not being told. They want to help. And to not be given direction or being told what they can do to help this organization move forward is difficult and frustrating for both them and for me as a supervisor. So I would encourage that now that this report is finally going to come to light, that we look at it, make decisions, and move forward with due speed so that people can understand what their place is within this organization, because that hasn't been able to be done over the last year.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mike Ragney. So I'm just going to piggyback on what Ted says, because I also supervise a specialty unit that also affects my guys the same way it affects his guys. And in addition to that, I'm the president of the association. So his concerns, Russ's concerns, Patrol's concerns are my concerns. Right? So I burden all of that. So, we're trained to read body language. And when Sergeant Lewis was speaking to the board, there was only one head nod throughout the whole thing. A head nod like this, right? From one person. And that was when he said that his guys continue to go out and do their job every day. That was the only time I saw a head nod. Any other time, there was just listening. All right. So that paints a picture for me. All right. I agree with Ted. You guys received this report at least 65 days ago. And at the time, 65, at the time that you received it, you said that it would be given to us in a timely manner. I don't know if 65 days is timely to you. And if something happened where it couldn't be released in a timely manner, I think a courtesy call to me would have been appreciated. So I'm just a little, disappointed that it kind of played out this way. I thought we had a better relationship between me and the three of you. I just thought a little bit of more transparency along the way, even if you weren't going to provide the report to us, maybe just a little bit of insight on why, except for grammatical errors. 65 days for grammatical errors doesn't appear to be normal, at least in my eyes. So I appreciate that you had mentioned that you're going to be giving us the report. I would like to know when, because we've been told that we were going to give it today.
Yes.
Okay.
So can I react to it?
Sure, absolutely.
First of all, Ed, I thought you were going to, I didn't know you were going to say only one person was nodding their head and only one point. Frankly, I was nodding my head most of the time. So maybe you just didn't see me because I'm hidden behind here. The second thing is, and basically to react to both of you. And you've actually asked a good question as to what was the difference and why did it take 65 days? It's actually because there was another element of the report that wasn't finished. Full stop. Okay. And I can speak for the three of us. We were frustrated because that portion of it took longer than, I'll speak for myself, took longer than I would have liked. On the other hand, it ended up being of some value. So I think that's good.
Well, Dick,
Yeah.
right from the beginning, I mentioned that this was stressful for us.
I'm sure.
Right? And it affects our careers and our livelihoods and our families. With that in mind,
Yeah.
if you said that there was a part of the report that wasn't completed, or maybe you weren't, tell me.
I thought that we had been conveying that in a different way, just simply saying, because I didn't want to criticize anybody on your end or even on our consultant's end. Just said to say it's not ready yet. We don't have a final report. And part of those 65 days you're referring to, I wasn't here. So I'll actually take the responsibility if I were to do it all over again, I would have said to you, I would have given sort of an ongoing update. Okay, that full stop. But I want to make one other point, because this is kind of was the implied criticism or concern on your part and on Russ's part. And that somehow that you thought that, during that time, or maybe made an assumption that somehow that we were either guiding, dictating, directing, etc., what the consultant was doing or saying. On a 1 to 10 scale of not true, 175. Okay?
I understand.
I understand that. I can understand why you guys might think differently.
I appreciate you understanding.
Yeah, well, obviously.
Yes.
But the bottom line is that we're also, we weren't in that game. Okay? And in retrospect, I'm happy is not the right term. I'm pleased that we finally got the report done. It's finished. We made no pretense of it. As soon as we got it, you're getting a copy of it. That's it. Okay? And we still have obviously we have decisions to make, and I'm pleased the fact is that you guys are saying it. And in particular, in case to Ted, I think you better start with an assumption, which is almost undo an assumption. We didn't begin with a predicate of getting rid of something.
Did you read the RFP and the language in the RFP?
Yeah, I read the RFP, but I've written enough RFPs myself. I didn't write that one, but, okay.
So I think the concern is when the only information that we have is the information that's available to us.
Sure.
This information was specifically denied to us, and the only reason why we became aware of this information was that it was posted as part of an information packet to the supervisors of East Goshen Township.
Okay.
That's how it came out. We had, right, it's a public document, but before it came out to the supervisors, we had repeatedly come in and said, can we see what's being asked? And we were repeatedly denied. And then when the language says whether WeGo needs a sustainable unit or whether the duties of the TSU can be absorbed into the patrol unit, and then the second line essentially says the same thing, the intended or not, the impression is that we want to find out whether we can shut down this unit, right? That's the impression that it gets sent. Our membership has repeatedly come into this police commission and said, we understand the need for changes. We understand that things are going to have to happen. We want to be able to be a part of that process, and we want to be able to help that process. And I will only speak for myself personally, but I feel as if we've been essentially cut out from that. And that I think that the impression that we have is that there were probably things that we could have done months and months and months and months ago to not necessarily change what would happen in the report or whatever, but we could have made changes back then, like having my unit cover sick outs a year ago and have saved tens of thousands of dollars.
I think we're going to run out of time, and I hate to say it, but
right.
wait.
I understand that, but we want to be a part of the process. We're here.
So let me deal with that, and then Cody has something else to say. Okay. From a business perspective, where I've been involved, where my clients will ask me to help prepare and actually be part of the game planning of an RFP process. Okay. I would never have, and I've never had a situation where my client would turn as the employer, if you will, and say, is that, by the way, we want the employees, for a lack of a better, just the analogy, to be involved in the RFP process. And just in the writing of the RFP. I think you make a fair point based on even just hearing you, because it's been so long since that RFP came out, I forgot what it said. I think probably the wording could have been different. Okay, so, but to start from a premise, just moving ahead. I wouldn't start from a predicate is that there's been any decision-making on a predisposition on it. It would literally be a wrong impression. We created the wrong impression.
We've been repeatedly coming back to this board and given this board the opportunity to change that impression.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I've been in the position where I need to
I understand.
come in every day.
I've been in your position. I understand that.
you know, and I understand that you understand.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that moving forward, we want to be part of the process and we want to be kept in the loop. And if there are going to be changes, give us a heads up so that we can address those within our.
Okay, but this is a we talk about reciprocity here. You want to throw it in? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. I spoke with Russ about this and appreciate both where you are saying, and I hear that regardless if I'm nodding my head or not. But in regards to the transparency process, and I spoke with Russ, you know, you want transparency from us. And from me, it's really hard when I get a study back saying that a survey was sent to all the department and I get 4 or 5 responses. There's more than 4 or 5 people that are in the department that can offer what's going on in the department. So from a transparency side, from my side, you know, you can come to meetings, but you know, there's only a few that come to meetings. Not all the officers have the opportunity to come here and tell us what they're saying. I only go see one on the street or not. So from a transparency standpoint of, well, we want to be part of it. How can I have you be part of it when you only have 4 people who fill out the survey? You know, it's hard for me to be able to get information from everyone other than just union head or association heads or sergeants or people in leadership rather than more of the rank and file.
And I would say that Cody's not just speaking for himself.
I understand that. If I could respond to that, because I think that there's a legitimate response to that. I certainly understand your concern. And I would probably have some of that same concern if I was in your shoes. Once again, I'm speaking for myself, right? We knew in the very beginning that there were issues going on here. There were certainly issues going on with our former chief and the board. There were changes that were going to occur within Thornbury. And I think that there was a lot of concern about how all this was going to play out and how it was going to affect people as individuals. Our legal counsel suggested that nobody get involved in doing any surveys at all. And I think that the overwhelming feedback that I heard was that people wanted to be able to participate, but they wanted to protect their best interest. Everybody's well aware of the fact that our emails are company emails, that they are not secret whatsoever. So if we fill out a survey and send it back anonymously, if I had said, well, I think Chief Bernat was the most horrific person in the whole world and she did nothing but decimate this department, right? If that was my opinion that I gave back and she stayed on as police chief, what am I going to do to my future if Because what we think is anonymous is not anonymous. Or what we hope is anonymous is not anonymous. And on the other side of things, if somebody had been overly critical of leadership or patrol or the police commission or anything, there was a fear of anonymity and there was a fear of repercussion about, you know, what's going to happen to somebody 3 years from now when they're going for a promotional examination. Is that going to hurt them? And even if it doesn't, which I can't imagine that it would, but it's the perception of that person when they don't get promoted. Oh, maybe it was because of what I said, because our business email is not anonymous, right? You guys have open access to it.
I'm gonna have to do the following because Tom's got to drop dead time at 10 to 2.
I understand, but it wasn't a lack of cooperation.
Okay.
That was the reason.
And I have a feeling this discussion we should have the discussion.
Continue later.
Yeah,
Okay.
very much so.
Well, we've heard each other
I
side.
just want to take 30 seconds if you don't mind. So I just want to address what you said about us saying or implying that we thought that you guys were changing the report. If I gave that impression of what we actually thought, I apologize. My point was the fact that giving the report was opening us up to the possibility of that becoming a thought or a blockade between us bridging, obviously, the broken communication between the police commission and the police association.
Okay.
So that was the point that I was trying to get. If you guys took it differently, I apologize.
Don't worry about it. I think most important is that I'm very conscious of time at the moment. This will be the beginning of the discussion, and I think let's start it. And hopefully, let's move on from there. Okay.
Plus, you'll have the benefit of reading the report, which I'm sure that you will do immediately.
Okay. So want to do overtime report real quick?
Yeah, we're gonna cut our reports down pretty
Yeah.
quick.
So,
Okay.
obviously, it's on the packet, the full breakdown, but total 253 hours, 253 and a half hours. I just do want to note that since February 27th, with the certain operational requests that I've made, and with collaboration with specialty units, I've been tracking time that would have been saved. I'll have a better idea after a full month. But since February 27th, due to those operational flexibility, 70 hours of overtime has been a result of some of those decision making.
Savings.
Savings, yes.
About $7,000.
That's what my next question is.
Anything on the month end report?
No, we are just,
Want to just
less than,
tell them about the change that we talked about this morning?
yeah, just, 1/10% over budget rather than under.
Yeah.
Um,
1/10?
yeah, and PPU report?
The split between East Goshen and West Town for the month of February was 45.88 for West Town and 54.12 for East Goshen.
We're off by 1.3 for West Town.
Public comment.
Nothing.
We'll hear a motion to, first of all, thank you.
Hey,
everybody, for
wait, Dick, I have a question.
Okay.
Is it people-
Hello?
Who is that?
It's people online.
I'm sorry.
Is that Shirley? Is that you?
Yes, it's me.
Okay.
I have two questions. First question is real quick. I don't know Teams, but should I just be looking at this paper the whole time you're talking? Like, I don't see any video. So when you introduce anybody, it means nothing because I can't put a name to a face because I'm just looking at the screen of your budget. Should there be video?
Yeah. You should be able to see the view of the room full of people. If you look
Yeah,
at you.
all I see is scrolling the
I
whole
think
time.
it's-
Okay,
Like,
yeah, we're,
Change it.
Shirley, let's go to the next, we're gonna figure out that after the fact. What's the next one? I promise.
My
we'll
next
figure it out.
question is, okay, very quickly, as one of those people who was at every Tesla protest, I can tell you that last weekend was very scary for those of us when that young man in the white truck who happens to go to Ruston High School went by and was rolling coal. Are the police going to, like, I know you said the police will be there this week. If that happens again, and rumor has it that it will the police like step in at that point?
So we're going to take a very proactive approach. Over the last few weeks, we've sort of been, I don't want to say hands off, but we were in the area rather than being a visible presence. This week and going forward, we're going to be an actual visible presence. I've spoken with the protest organizer about that, and he actually encourages that. Again, for the safety and security of all who attend. So yes, we will take action if need be.
Okay, thank you.
Shirley? And with that, if there are no other comments, thanks for everybody coming. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Aye.
How you doing, my friend? Thank you. Yeah.
I'm already a yes on the.